Hello, this is Don Saito, the founder of ERP Efficiency Experts. We are a Microsoft Dynamics Business Central reseller. We are also a Microsoft Dynamics Nav reseller. All right, so today what we're going to do is go over the sales order module in Microsoft Dynamics Business Central. So we'll start with the Role Center. The Role Center is the screen that you're looking at right now. This is what you see when you log in. I'm logged in as the Sales Order Processor Role Center. So let's take a look at what we have here. So at the top of the screen, we have various menus. For example, we have sales menus here where we can access customers, sales orders, and so on. We have menus for inventory and purchasing as well as posted documents. So if I want to look up a posted invoice, posted credit memo, by the way, the word posted here means a sales order that has been converted to an invoice. A posted document is a document that's a final document. It cannot be changed. It is something that is 100% complete. Okay, so now let's take a look at the second menu line down here. We have some quick buttons here where we can access sales orders. We can look at the item master, the customer master, and so on. All right, now let's take a look at the insights here. These are customer insights. So these are just information that will pop up on your screen. The largest posted sales invoice was for $10,000. The biggest sales order was for $16,768. That's for the last month. So it's just some nice information there and a nice friendly hello. Over here we have actions, and here we can create a sales quote, a sales order, a sales invoice, and so on. That plus symbol always means to create something new. So you can see there's multiple ways to get to the same thing. Sales orders here, and sales orders here. So you'll find that there's many different ways to accomplish the same thing. So it's very easy to find things in Business Central. Down below we have activities. And these teal boxes are called queues, C-U-E-S. And that is because they cue you into certain metrics that are occurring in the business real time. So for example, here we have sales quotes that are open, and we have sales orders that are open. And here we can see we have sales orders that have been released but not shipped. So we have one order that's ready to ship, none partially shipped, and 0 delayed. I can go ahead and I can click into one of these boxes. I can look at the open sales orders. And there I can see all the open sales orders. And if I actually want to view a sales order, I can click onto the number there, and that will open up the actual sales order, and I can review it. I'm going to go ahead and close that out. All right, so I'm back to my Role Center. We have returns on this side, and then we have user tasks. User tasks are tasks that you can assign to yourself, or you can assign to other users. So it's just a handy way to keep track of tasks. So for example, here I can create a new task for myself. Let's say feed the dog, feed the dog. All right, and then I can assign that to myself, for example, and click OK. I can assign a group if I want and a due date. So I'm going to do it for today. I'll put T for today, and I can put a time here. Let's say I'll do it at 3:30 p.m. Okay, priority, well, our dog is hungry, so that's going to be a high priority. Oh, that's just an example of how you can create a task. All right, so now you can see I have one pending task. All right, you also have approvals. So within Business Central, you'll have a full workflow. You can approve sales orders, for example, purchase orders if it goes over a certain dollar amount, and so on. Over here on the self-service section here, we have the ability to track timesheets, submit timesheets, and so on. All right, down in my Insights section, I have my customers. This is kind of my favorite customers. So you can go ahead and choose your favorite customers, and you can see what their balances are, phone numbers, if you populate that at all time. Okay, and here we have trailing sales orders over to the right. This is just a graph, and there's a number of different graphs that are available within Business Central. By clicking this little down arrow, you can look at various filters such as orders until today, delayed orders, and so on. You can hover on these charts to see more information. Down here, just like you have your favorite customers, I have my favorite items. So maybe these are my top selling items and I want to see, various information about them and have them handy so I can get to the item card really quick. I can click on that and get to the item card, see the picture of it, see how much I have on hand, how much is on purchase order, and so on. All right, I'm back to my dashboard again. And over here we have Power BI. Power BI is an optional subscription that you can obtain. And what this does, this gives you the ability to create your own views, your own reports, and so on. So for example, you can have different reports in here that you can choose from. Here's just a few examples here. Here we can see top 5 customers by sales amount. And I can hover on these bar charts here, and I can see the sales amount information. You can also drill down. If you notice, it says right click to drill through. So I'm going to go ahead and right click and show the data. Here you can see the detailed information. Go back here. You have some other options here with Power BI. You can export data and so on. So it's a very powerful feature, particularly if you want to do visualizations, graphs, and so on. Another example would be, let me go to another report. And this is just a customer sales dashboard showing customer balances. These are the balances the customers owe us. Okay. Down below we see the report inbox. Here you can schedule reports to print and they will show up in your inbox. So if you have maybe some month-end reports, you want to print them out, but you want to go home for the day, you can schedule them, have them run in the evening. When you come in the morning, those reports will be here in your inbox. Okay, so now let's go ahead and look at customers. I'm going to go ahead and click into customers, and I'll just open up an existing customer. So here's customer A Datum Corporation. I'm going to go ahead and click the Show More button here. I can see various information about this particular customer, such as their balance, their credit limit, whether the customer is blocked or not, a default salesperson, and so on. Here we have our contact information, and down on the invoicing tab, we will see other types of information such as, is this customer taxable? Is it tax liable? By the way, we do have several solutions for calculating sales tax real time, so that's a very powerful feature if you need to charge sales tax. The Payments tab here is where you can track your payment terms code. For example, is it a net 10, is it net 14, 15, and so on. Okay, so you can see this is our customer card. There's quite a bit of information on here. Let me go to a few more tabs here. We have the statistics, and this is just showing you various statistics about this customer, how much is owed, current, due, and how much is owed total. We can see again credit limit, and so on. All right, we have a little on-screen aging report here, which kind of gives you an idea of the total amount not overdue at this point. So this is just current. Then down below here, we can scroll down here. We can set up special pricing for the customer. So for example, for this customer, for item 1008, we have a unit price of $120. There's a lot more features here. You can add discounts. You can require minimum quantities to achieve that price, and you can have starting and ending dates, which are great for sales. Okay. Some other features that you have on the Customer Master is you can put pictures in here. You can attach documents from PDF, Word, Excel, any type of document you can attach to this customer. And if I scroll down a little bit here, I see a little side panel. These are called fact boxes, F-A-C-T, boxes, because they contain facts, not opinions, about your customer. So here we have, for example, open sales quotes, blanket orders, sales orders. Again, you can just drill down on these things and get more detail. And here we can see posted shipments. So we've done 48 shipments so far, 48 invoices, so that's good. So everything that's been shipped has been invoiced. So you've got lots of great information here. Here we have customer statistics, more data here, how many orders are outstanding, shipped, not invoiced, and so on. So you've got lots of detail here on your customer. Okay, there are a lot more features here on the customer. If I'm just going to go ahead and show a couple of tabs here, But you can see we have all sorts of information here: bank accounts, ship to addresses, contacts, and so on. Very powerful, very robust, pretty much can handle just about anything when it comes to tracking customers and sales. All right, just a couple other features here. We do have a recurring billing function, so if you need to do any type of recurring invoicing, that functionality is built in. It also handles prepayments as well, so if you require customers to prepay a certain percentage, that functionality is there. All right, now let's go back to our Role Center and let's take a look at items. So I'm going to click into items. Items is where you will store all of the different products that you sell. Those products could be physical products or they could be services. So you have the ability to set up an item as a product or a service. You can also have non-inventory items. Okay, let's take a look at an item here. How about this Athens desk? And I will open this up. And let me click Show More here. So we can see we have the item number, description, what type of item it is. As I mentioned, we have inventory items, we have service items, and we have non-inventory items. All right, so a service might be something like a service charge. Non-inventory might be an item that you would buy, but you don't necessarily want to keep track of how many you have on hand. These could be low-value items like screws or washers or things of that nature. Below that, you have your unit of measure, and you do have the ability to have alternate units of measure with conversion factors. Over here, you have an item category code, so you can categorize your items. That's great for reporting. You're able to see how many of the various categories that you're selling. On the inventory tab here, we can see we have things like quantity on hand, quantity on purchase order. Again, you have drill down capability here. If you're using the manufacturing module, these would be applicable, so you can have production orders and so on. And then here we see that we have 300 on existing sales orders right now. If I'm interested in that, I can drill down. I can see here's the order, and I can drill into the actual order as well if I want to. Okay. On the cost and posting tab, we have various costing methods. So no matter what costing method you're using, it supports it. So we have FIFO, first in, first out, LIFO, last in, first out. Specific is for serialized inventory. Then we have average costing and standard costing. All right. On the prices and sales tab, we have unit price. So this would be, for example, your highest retail price. We also have special pricing that you can set up for your customers by customer, by item. All right. Now I'm going to go to the replenishment tab, and this tells you how do you restock this item. Do you purchase it? Do you produce it? Do you transfer it from another location? Or do you assemble it? So you have all of those options on how you restock that item. And on the left side, we have if you purchase this item, what the vendor number is. That's your primary vendor that you would purchase this from. And if you're producing this item, you have various information here. All right, that's all I'm going to go on the item card today. There's a lot more detail here that we can drill down into, and I'll do a different video on that. All right, I'm going to go back to my Role Center. Well, so we've seen so far, we've seen the Role Center for the sales order processor. We've seen the item master and the customer master. So let's just go ahead and create a sales order and see what that's like. So I will go ahead and click the plus sales order, and I will choose my customer. Now I can select a customer in various ways. I can start typing, and I can click this little drop down, and I can find, okay, well that's the first one, that was easy. And then I can go ahead and continue entering my order. Requested delivery date. Let's assume that the customer requested this, they want it today. And external document number is typically used for the customer's PO number, so let's pretend it is PO 1234. You can use the Show More button to see additional data here. Oftentimes you don't need to see that. You can keep that in the collapsed mode. All right, Now what I'm going to do is take a look at what items I want to sell to this customer. So I'll go ahead. The red star means it's a required field, so I'm going to go ahead and select an item or two. So let's take this Athens desk, and I'm going to go ahead and order 2 of those. If you notice, the price comes up. If this is taxable, the tax area code, tax group code, and so on will show up as well. And you can immediately see we've already calculated tax. You can continue with your order in this fashion, selecting additional items on your order. So let's choose one more. Let's go with this London swivel chair. Looks comfortable. I'll order 2 of those. And there we are. So very simple to enter an order. There's additional tabs, but you typically don't need to go to these unless you need to change something specific. So for example, if I needed to change the ship to, I would come here. I can go ahead and change the ship to address. The invoice details, I typically don't need to come here. The payment terms is going to default. The tax information is going to default from my customer master. Okay, on the right side of the screen, we have our fact boxes again. And what's interesting about these fact boxes is you've got the history here. So if you wanted to look up, if you're talking to your customer and says, hey, I want the same thing I bought last time, you can look up his posted invoices. And I'm going to sort this so that the most recent is on top. All right. So let's say I want this invoice and he wants to buy the same thing he bought last time. Well, I can take a look. Okay, he bought the wrong guest chair. So I'm talking to my customer and I can sell him those as well as the other 2 things I have on that order. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down further on my fact box. Again, you can see customer information here, address, phone number, lots of good stuff here. The sales line information is great because this information happens to apply to whatever line you happen to be clicked on at the time. So you can see my item number is 1908-S, which is the same here. If I want to go to the item master for any reason to look up information, I can simply by clicking on that number. All right, and you can also see availability information. So right now it shows that we're really out of stock on this, so we need to get that ordered right away. So great information you can see as you're entering the order. And here you can see some additional information such as cost and so on. All right, so entering an order, straightforward. Last step, when I enter an order, I want to go ahead and release that order. That simply changes the status here from open to released. That is just a nice signal to say, hey, I'm done entering this order. And I don't want anyone to accidentally come in here and start changing my quantities or changing my amounts. When an order is released, you cannot change any type of information which would fiscally affect that order. So if I were to change the quantity here, it's going to say, sorry, you can't do that. And I'm going to have to revert the change. Okay, if I need to edit this order, I simply reopen it and then I can edit it. So it's just a great way to lock it down. So once your order is entered, you would go ahead and do what you would normally do with your customer. Perhaps they would want a order confirmation. So you can email that directly or you can print it out. I'm going to go ahead and just preview it to the screen so you can see what it looks like. And there is a sample of your order confirmation. Okay. Typically, the next step in the order process is you're going to print a picking ticket. And so let me show that. I'm going to go ahead and click my more options here, reports, and I'm going to print my picking list by order. And we'll go ahead and preview this one as well. Let's zoom in on this a little bit. This one is not as fancy as the order acknowledgement. It's meant to be an internal document, so the logo's not there. If you wanted it, that can easily be added. But here's our picking list, and you can see it's got our items on it, quantities, and so on. Okay, we have now entered an order, and you can see that we are now complete with the order entry process. Now the warehouse would take over and go ahead and ship that out. All right, that's enough for this video. Thank you very much for your time. This is Don Saito with ERP Efficiency Experts. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. Thank you very much.